Hi everybody, I've been putting this video off for a little while, but we just passed Father's Day a little while ago, so I thought I'd make a Doormat Chronicles Father's Day edition. My father, when we started to separate or part ways, he told me, "After all I've done for you." So I decided to make a video about that, and so there's going to be some pretty disturbing stuff in this video. If you're triggered by anything, like I don't want to get into in detail everything I'm going to talk about, but there's a lot, then I suggest you don't watch, because it can be quite triggering to some people. Yeah, I'm going to talk about what my father has done for me and what he hasn't. Let's start off with November 26th, 1977. Just after I turned 1, my father was convicted for SA and sentenced to jail for 2 years. According to my mother, he only went for a few weeks. I will never know. However, I am an anchor baby because he should have been deported to Poland. And he actually told me that no, he did not commit SA, otherwise he would have been deported. So it took me having to order the transcripts from the Vancouver Supreme Court to find this out. I can't bring myself to reading through it, but I do think it's because A, he's white, and B, he had a new Canadian baby. When he left jail, my mother accepted him right away. She took him back. And he is, sorry, that's my ice maker. He is 50% the reason why my life was hard. Both of my parents raised me in a fucking terrible manner. My father set an example of how a man should not treat a woman. So a little girl always looks up to her daddy, right? Well, my daddy was always treating my mom poorly. He was always in the garage. He hardly did anything with me. And when he did, as a little girl, I wondered why he wouldn't hold my hand. Instead, I had to hold on to his back pocket. And I remember people laughing about it because I guess it was cute. My mother and I were in and out of, it's called transition house, at least that's what it was called, where women who are victims of domestic violence are transitioning to go back on their own, but I don't remember us ever going back on our own, so I guess we would just keep going back home to my father. And I remember one of the transition houses because silly things what little kids remember, but anyway, sorry, for some reason that was really triggering to talk about, but it was weird things that children remember, but I remember seeing a box of McDonald's cookies on the windowsill in the kitchen, and then asking my mom for some cookies, and she said, no, those aren't ours. And I didn't understand why. I was an only child, but it's so weird what sticks in a child's mind. Okay, so let's fast forward a few years. I'm about 10 years old, and my mother, the only answer I got for her mental illness was postpartum psychosis in some of her papers, but that doesn't make sense because I look at the pictures through my childhood and I looked really happy. And my younger aunt, she said that when my mom babysat her, like she was probably 10 when I was 1, she said my mom seemed fine. And looking through my, but I mean, how does a 10-year-old mentally assess an adult? I look at my pictures throughout my childhood, and when I'm about 10, it was Expo 86, when the abuse really started. Those pictures started to become more sporadic and eventually end. My mother thought that I was committing spiritual sex act on my father while sleeping, if I made noises with my mouth. And she would wake me up hitting me. One time I jumped out of the second floor window, and I'm going to play a recording a few years ago that I recorded of my father. He still seems to think that at the age of 11, I had this overwhelming desire to prostitute myself. He still thinks that. That in itself says everything about this man. Now, keep in mind, I'm a little embarrassed. I was drinking when this recording was made. That's probably why I had a little bit of extra courage to stand up to him, because normally I have always just submitted to him in order to maintain harmony. So I would apologize for things that I know I didn't do wrong. As long as he was starting to be nice to me, then I feel like the weight is off my shoulders, things are good, and I'd be happy again. And this is how he has treated me throughout the years. But in this recording, I'm going to show you, I'm actually kind of standing up to him.
Call me what the kids did to you when you were 11 years old. Quite frankly, you choose that road, not me. This is a blackmail.
So what he's talking about, what kids did to me when I was 11, I'm actually angry about the fact that my parents put me in a predicament where I was being molested by a 29-year-old man. I was running away from home, yes. I jumped out the window to get away from my mom. I wasn't prostituting myself. They paid a couple down the road to care for me because they were trying to get rid of me. I was a bad kid. I was acting up. I was dressing weird. I was jumping out of the window and running away. And why is that? Was it because I was a bad kid? Not a single fucking adult in my community approached Child Protective Services, RCMP, not even a fucking teacher, saying, hey, I suspect abuse in that household. This child's acting really weird. The teacher should have noticed that. Why is it that suddenly I'm not going to school in grade 7? A woman who used to be my childhood best friend told me as an adult that she was present one night when my mother was waking me up doing this, when my mother was watching me sleep, and once I made noises with my mouth, she woke me doing this. So why the fuck didn't her mother phone somebody to complain? Well, maybe she didn't tell her mom. I don't know. But I'm not going to give her mom the benefit of the doubt because there is no way nobody suspected anything. Especially if I'm hanging out with her daughter all the time. She absolutely suspected some sort of abuse. I don't buy any sort of fucking negligence. You're saying that as an 11-year-old girl that was...
Listen, you're blackmailing me. That's your fucking problem.
As an 11-year-old girl, it was my choice.
Jamie, you want to doing that? You jumped from the second floor at midnight.
Okay.
Go to Jamie, prostituting. Well, don't blame me for the fucking thing.
So this is a grown man completely refusing any sort of responsibility for child neglect, accusing me of blackmailing him. For what? I don't want anything. Actually, yes, I do want something. 2 things. I want peace, and I want to finally fucking heal. And how old was I? How old was I, Dad? 11. 11, right? I was 11. I was 11. I was 11. I was 11, right? Dad.
Oh, you fucking stupid fucking idiot. You are shut out for good.
This is a manipulative technique that he has used over the years, dangling his relationship with me for whatever reason. So he would say like, oh, you're going to lose me for good. I'm going to block you. I'm not going to talk to you again. He went as far, earlier this year, he went as far as emailing me saying that if I don't give him $4,000, he will never speak to me again. After everything that I'm going to tell you, after however many months, he sent me this email out of the blue. He really wants this $4,000 that he gifted me in 2004 to put down on a car.
You and your mother, you're both fucking psycho. And it's all you can do, both of you, can kiss my fucking sweetheart.
You were in jail. So clearly I was never a prostitute. And I'm not a psycho. Like, what did the psychiatrist say? Joanna, so I'm going to be diagnosing you with psycho. No, I have depression, PTSD, anxiety. And I do tend to drink when I have panic attacks. If anybody suffers from psychopathy, it's my father. And he is undiagnosed, but there is clearly some sort of an undiagnosed mental issue with him. But he's not going to get any help for that. You were in jail for having listen to me! You were in jail for having a woman in the trunk! You locked a woman in the trunk of your car! You kidnapped a woman!
Military whore for 20 years.
Excuse me? I was what?
Military whore.
I do not know any man who has treated his daughter the way my father treats me to this day. Well, I don't speak with him anymore. We're no contact now, but throughout my life, I do not know another single man who treats his daughter this way. So I served Canada for 18 years, only to have my father call me a military whore. A military whore.
You choose that road.
You choose that road. What the fuck is that even supposed to mean? What's wrong with joining the military? You choose that road. What did he want me to choose? When I went into foster care, I was 12 years old. Who advocated for me when I went into foster care? Me. I called the children's helpline. Back then, you call the operator and then you ask for Zenith 1234. And I still remember doing that. So I went to a special school. It does not have anything to do with my cognitive ability. And even if it did, even if I had some sort of a cognitive delay or impairment, there's still nothing wrong with the child. There's no reason to insult the child. But these schools are specifically made for troubled kids who need a bit more leniency, a little more attention, less student to teacher ratio, so that they can get more attention from the teacher one-to-one. They understand that children act up. So my father was calling me dummy, retarded, stupid foster kid. Why don't you go to normal school, stupid foster kid? And I kept going back to my parents as a teenager, even though they didn't even want me. I ordered my foster care documents. Holy fuck, what I read is unbelievable. I wish I didn't order those documents.
What did you do to that woman in the trunk of your car?
Well, it's not only your fucking business.
You locked her in your car. Why did you?
That was my fiancée.
Why did you lock her in the car?
It's none of your fucking business.
Why did you lock the woman in the trunk of your car? Why did you lock the woman in the trunk of your car? Why did you lock the woman in the trunk of your car?
I'm finished with you, Joanna. You no longer have your father. Goodbye. Fuck off.
So he made a joke about this woman, this victim. That's his fiancée. And you can hear him obviously calling me idiot, retard. That was what he was calling me just now. I thought that I was so stupid that I didn't think I was smart enough to attend a regular high school until grade 12. And yeah, I graduated late because I didn't want to go to school. I was having trouble. Things were going very slowly. I finally decided on my own, I'm going to try to do regular high school. I'm going to try in grade 12 because my friends are going. I'm going to try it too. But let's back up a few years. So I'm in foster care, and I read in these documents that my father was trying to get custody of me because he was angry that he had to pay while I was a temporary ward of the court. So I was in temporary custody of the government, and he had to pay for my support, and this angered him. And they said to him, well, who's going to care for her at night? Because you work during the day, and then you work in the evenings too. He always had a full-time job and a part-time job. And coincidentally, the part-time job was always under the table for 40 plus years. So we'll get to that a bit later about why he brags about all his money that he has to the other seniors at Burnaby Park. So my first bad experience in the foster care system was I was being molested by the foster mother's adult son. I did try to make a historical complaint. However, I don't have any faith in the RCMP anymore after my dealings with them over the years, and I was basically brushed off. I had suggestions of where they could go and who they could approach, and they just didn't care. So I was running from these homes because it was a really bad situation for me, and I didn't like the abusive environment. I moved in with an abusive man when I was 15 years old. Eventually, we had no place to live. We were homeless. And then we got a room at this hotel called the Turf Hotel. It's in Bridgeview of Surrey. It is a slum hotel. And we were in a room with another guy. And I had no food. I was hungry. And I remember, because it's just a few blocks from my family home, I remember going to the field in front of the home and sitting on this concrete block, staring at the house, trying to muster up the courage to go see my dad to ask for some money or some food. Somehow, the restaurant downstairs of the hotel, they were giving me French fries for sweeping the floor, and I have no idea how I managed that. But yeah, he was trying to get custody of me before I was a permanent ward. I think I was 13 when I was made permanent. And the social worker, I put a screenshot of this, I think, in a Doormat Chronicles episode about both my parents, but he was mad about paying for my care, and then the social worker said, we're going to take full custody of your daughter. He says, no, because I don't want to pay. And they said, you don't have to pay anymore because we'll be having full custody of her. Throughout the rest of the documents, him trying to get custody of me after that. It was only because he had to pay. So what would have happened if he gained custody? I would have received the very bare minimum. Now, when I was waiting outside of the house, I was hoping to see the family dog, and I was mustering up the courage to go ask for money or some food, and then I just left. I couldn't do it. He also had a woman living in the family home, and she didn't like me, so maybe she convinced him to stop speaking with me. And I think by the time I was 17, she had left. They got in a fight and they broke up, and I phoned my dad and I said, like, I want to leave this guy. He's abusive. My father came and picked me up, and by then I was receiving something called independent living allowance, and that is to help foster kids get out on their own, to kind of give them a little bit of help as they're trying to navigate the world. And they're still ill prepared even to this day. You give them fucking independent living allowance, they don't know how to budget, they have no skills, they don't know what to do because nobody's fucking training them to do anything. My father picks me up and I live with him while I go to grade 12. So at least I had a stable roof over my head. And I'm glad I had that fucking independent living allowance, because did he spend any money on me? I got coffee, the odd hamburger pork patty that he would make. And I was really bad at budgeting. I didn't know how to handle money. But I'm glad I had that. Plus I would work. Weekends I was doing catering. Saturday nights I worked for my friend's dad during the day. I was a carny for a little while. I did like kids rides. I lived with him for about a year. And at that time, he stopped paying the mortgage. So it went for foreclosure. And at that time, my mother was suing to get her share of the house. So he had no mortgage. He worked part-time under the table. And he would sit at the fucking kitchen table in front of me, lick his thumb, and with this fucking smug grin, count all of this cash with this fucking grin on his face. It was just sick. In front of me and my friend. He didn't care who was there. Finally, the house... we had to leave the house, and I moved back on my own, and he abandoned the family dog at the house. He ripped the front porch off the house. He was building a boat, so he took the stands off of that, and the boat came crashing to the ground. He was spray painting things on the walls, like a big swastika on, like there's a huge wall in the kitchen with tile, like mirror tile, and he spray painted a huge swastika on there. He was chainsawing furniture. So I had to take the dog. And my childhood friend, her family took the dog. Well, then, 19-year-old, she says to me, "My mommy won't let me have a puppy." And I stayed her friend for however many, 30 years after that. 25 years. They're not obligated to take my dog. She wanted a puppy. So I took the dog, and I was trying to get someone else to care for that dog. I couldn't take her because I couldn't afford anything more than a little apartment, and she was a medium-sized dog. I couldn't conceal that. So I had to take that dog to the Humane Society. And that will stay fucking etched into my head for the rest of my life. So that was the childhood friend who spent the night where she was present while my mom did that to me, whose mother never reported anything. And here she's like, "You can't have a puppy because we have Joanna's dog." I mean, that just says everything about these people. That's pretty fucking sick. I'm trying to go back out on my own, and they don't even want to help me with that. And again, they're not obligated to do anything. She wanted a puppy. Fucking 19-year-old sucky baby. My huge fault is that I completely forgive people for doing awful things to me. And near the end of the friendship with this woman as adults, holy fuck, was she ever being mean. And I was still, like, I would apologize to her. And anyway, that's for a whole different video. I call her MBN because she was continually wallowing in self-pity. Must be nice. Must be nice to have that. I don't have that. So I joined the military. Heck, I graduated high school. Why didn't I try joining the army? I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I mean, you can join with a clean slate. Some people think you have to do cadets or something first. No, you actually get teased if you were a cadet before you join the military. But I thought that, like, landmines were places where you get diamonds. I swear to God. And, like, when I went into the military and I heard the term officer, I'm like, why are there so many police? Sure, I had graduated high school just by a thread. I mean, I was an uneducated kid. I was in survival mode for so long. I had no fucking clue about anything. I moved to Edmonton with a guy. Again, another abusive man. Go figure. This is what happens when you raise a child with a low self-esteem, low self-worth, and both parents show the child that father abuses mom, mom takes it. The child sees that as normalcy. So I was in an abusive relationship with a man who moved to Edmonton. He joined the regular force. I left him and I got an apartment by myself downtown Edmonton. I didn't know anybody. And I phoned him. I said, look, I'm short of cash. I'm really hungry. Can you help me? And he said no. I was an adult by then. He had no responsibility for me, not even while I was a teenager, right? So why the fuck would he want to give me any money? Then 2004, my car breaks down and my father suggests that I buy a Honda. And he gave me $4,000 to put down on a car. So now he's trying to become generous. And I thought he was being generous, maybe to make amends, maybe to make up for lost time. And I was allowing him to be generous. I was accepting these things. And boy, do I ever feel bad about doing that. Because he was resenting me this whole time. To the point where he thought that I was after his money. His ex-girlfriend even told me that. I got together with her after they broke up. 2005, I bought a condo for myself. I was leaving another bad relationship. I had no furniture. I had no bed. So he gave me $1,000 for a bed. And then he had custom made for me these clips for my balcony on either side to hold lattice. Because I was putting lattice up, but it was like flopping. So he had like powder coated and made these brackets for me to put on the side of my balcony. And it looked so nice. And people are asking me, where did you get that? I said, well, it's custom made by my dad. And I was so proud. My dad made me that. You know, I'm accepting all of these gifts. And then one time he saw, I went to get Botox and fillers. I was 30 and I wanted to give it a try, right? He saw the receipt in my apartment, my condo. He came to visit, flew out. And he fucking flipped out that I spent that much money on myself for something like that. And I felt awful, like I did something terrible. In hindsight, why? Is that because he spent some money on me that I should not buy myself something like that? What fucking business of his is it that I spent a bit of money on myself on something? I've been with nothing, no food, no home. I want to treat myself to something neat and expensive? No, I don't deserve that. As far as he was concerned, I should sit in a fucking corner and stare at the wall and not spend any money that I was making. And at that time, I was working in the military full time. And when I was just doing Monday to Friday in Garrison, I would work at Money Mart at night, evenings and weekends. Then I joined the regular force and I became a commissioner security guard because they're really flexible with military schedule. So if you ever have to leave, they don't book you and then you come back and then they book you work. So I was always working 2 jobs and I was working very hard for my money. And my father was trying to control what I spent it on, how I spent it on myself. Last year, people have probably seen my Halloween videos and how much joy I derived from that. I guarantee if I was still speaking with my father, he would fucking flip that I spent money on that. And he would say I'm childish. And I buy this house and I'd go visit him sometimes. I drove out there, we got in an argument, and he told me to commit suicide. He told me to jump off the Patullo Bridge and to have a nice swim. And I did walk up onto the bridge, and he knows I have those ideations. I walked onto the bridge and I tried to convince myself to do that. And then I just sat down, like where the bridge starts going up from the concrete. I sat down on that part and I just started to cry. Somebody phoned the police and they picked me up. And then they took me to my friend's house. I really tried to convince myself, but I know that doing that is very painful and I was terrified. And something just kept me hanging on over the years. So it's basically just beating a dead horse. You know, my dad's been mean to me over the years, but certain things stick out to me that are terrible. Like, for example, I went to Hello Kitty Con in 2014. I flew to Los Angeles by myself. And I had no idea that my father was very angry at me that I did that and I spent that money. Oh, I'll play another video for you, or another recording of what my father thinks of Hello Kitty.
Why don't you answer the phone? I guess you doped up, eh? In May, I'm going to be going to Jasper by myself, Edmonton, maybe a little further, and come back home. I won't even tell you.
Why would you do that?
It's still fucking embarrassing.
I'm embarrassing?
Yes, you are.
Why? Because I like Hello Kitty?
You can take either way you want it.
Because I like Hello Kitty?
Hello Kitty is for the kids. You don't have a relationship with men because they don't put up with that fucking crap. and you're not getting anything out of it. You stay with Hello Kitty. In May, I'm going to be going by there, Edmonton. Go for a ride. But believe me, I won't stop by.
He's not open to realize that there's a whole huge adult community who loves this. Like, there was a fucking tattoo shop at the convention and drag queens. Like, he just thinks it's a toddler toy. And on the way home from Los Angeles, I had a stopover in Vancouver. I was so excited to see my dad. He picked me up, and the whole time he fucking screamed at me while I cried. So he would buy me things. Like, he bought me a canoe, a battery, a trolling motor, a charger. He built for me a bracket, a winch with a canoe rack, everything, all the accessories for the canoe, because I bought myself a camper, which he eventually said it wasn't a very nice camper anyway. He's always been so mean to me. And I was so thankful for all of the things he was doing for me. I thought, wow, my dad's doing stuff for me. This whole time he is building resentment. Even from the 2004 $4,000. Building resentment. 2023 rolls around, and I go to Kelowna to visit some of my former partner's family. He tells me, take pictures of them and then send them to me. I want to laugh at them. I think it's because the mother is Asian. I don't know. But I actually got angry, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm just so proud of myself that it was another time I stood up to him. I can't do that. That's fucking sick. Then my father starts getting weird. He would pay for me to go to Vancouver to visit him, New Westminster. He'd pay for the trip. He'd pay for my flight. And I was so happy. Wow, my dad's being generous with me. Wow, this is so fun. This is neat. Then he started getting weird, and he was telling me he was broke, even though he'd always brag about his investments, right? He's telling me, oh, I'm struggling. I'm a senior. I'm retired now. And he said, you have to pay for your own trips out here. Well, at this, I found out after he was starting to resent me. He was obsessed with the fact that he thought I was after his money. His own daughter, just after him for money. Yeah, money to go visit him. Oh, fuck. Fuck, it just doesn't even make sense. So yeah, I paid for my own trip out there, and I still went to go see my dad. I got together with his girlfriend. This was shortly before she passed. Really nice woman, and she was 80. He was 79 at the time, and she told me, yeah, he thinks you're after him for money, and he would continually talk about that. And she told me things he said about me, and I feel bad. I was angry with her because she wouldn't repeat the names that he called me, because he'd always call people names behind their back. Like my childhood bestie, he'd call her the fat snatch. He laughed like, that Eminem song? That's how my father would laugh after he would call her that. Fat snatch. And he would emphasize that word. It just fucking sick. And then he'd be nice to her face. And I always thought maybe I was exempt from that name calling. But no, I wasn't. I kind of knew deep down, but his girlfriend basically reiterated that. Then she told me that he goes to Burnaby Park and boasts to the other seniors about all of his money, and that he bought his second car in cash, a new Honda HR-V, boasting to people who paid to support their fucking children, who paid taxes with both of their jobs throughout their lives if they had two. My dad's sure he paid taxes at his full-time job and earned a pension as a steel fabricator, but for 40 plus years working for the Polacks, it was under the table. Then he stops paying the fucking mortgage, and I have to go find a place to live. Doesn't spend money on his daughter throughout her childhood, from the time I went to foster care until 2004 when he gave me $4,000, and he fucking resents me after all I've done for you. So that's how he accumulated all this money. Like, he would brag to me, yeah, I go there and I open the drawer and there are $100 bills waiting for me. My father is so, everything is just money. His whole being, everything is just money to him. So now I'm just scattered all over the place. So I met with his girlfriend. She told me all this. And I'm embarrassed. And I got to go to Burnaby Park, and I met with some of these people. We didn't discuss my dad, but we did talk, and they were very friendly. But yeah, nobody there likes him because he's arrogant. we would drive. I would visit him in Vancouver, New Westminster, and we'd go to his older sister's place in Burnaby to sit outside of the house because it had just burned down. And he got this fucking joy looking at their suffering. I don't know these people, but he just got derived this joy, and the security guards looking at him like, why the fuck do you keep pulling over and watching this? Like, what the hell? And my father would continually go to derive joy and stare at this burned down house because they had some sort of a feud over some farmland in Poland. Like, my family's holding weird grudges. Like, my aunt, the younger aunt, is angry that my dad took the coffee table in the early 80s. She was mad about that in 2024. But yeah, my father's holding this grudge about some sort of property in Poland. Anyway, I think I've covered everything. It's just really flogging a dead horse by now. Like, so it just shows my father has done nice things for me. Absolutely, and I've mentioned all of it here. So does that mean that I should submit to him and let him control me and let him abuse me? And one thing that he said to me that really stuck with me was, at least I never hate you. So that excuses absolutely everything else, because he has never hit me. Anyway, I'm just sharing this as part of my healing journey and to reach out to others who may have been through something similar, just to say that you're not alone. Anyway, have a great day, everybody.